How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer on SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today. I really do appreciate it, as always. We are going to touch on today the expectations that some should have surrounding Hollywood Brown, veteran wide receiver that the Chiefs decided to bring back after injury kept him off the field last season. And it's very important that he is back. He not only gives credibility, extra credibility, that is, to the wide receiving room, but he also just brings that veteran presence that almost seemed like the Chiefs lacked last season. Now, it's it's important to note that I did a breakdown on Travis Kelce a few days ago, and it is a veteran. Those are the veterans in the wide receiving core that need to step up if the Chiefs want to be successful once again on the receiving front. Now, obviously, you can't say that Hollywood Brown did not try to get his way back to the Chiefs last season. While he was only able to play in 2 games and record 91 receiving yards, he is a nice guy to have on the roster, as always. We've seen Hollywood Brown in the past turn into one of the better wide receivers that the National Football League has. But at the same time, I think that, at least from what we've seen statistically, he's kind of reached his ceiling. But that doesn't mean that he can't get back up to his ceiling. And what I mean by that is when he broke into the NFL as a rookie, he started off his career with around 500, almost 600 receiving yards. The next season, he jumped up to around 700, mid 700s. Then the next season after that, that was his first time and the only time in his career that he's touched over 1,000 receiving yards. And then that same incline to success kind of took that decline as well. And funny enough, it was the same speed that the incline was at, meaning that his 4th season, he went back to 700 receiving yards, then back down to 500, or give or take around that area in year 6. And now last year, the 91 receiving yards isn't his fault due to the injury, but it almost begs the question, as if Hollywood Brown was healthy last season, what were we going to expect from him? Was there going to be a world where he was going to be the explosiveness that the Chiefs lacked last season? Obviously, these are hypotheticals, but we're going to break down the expectations. I expect going forward, at least on this 1-year deal, Hollywood Brown's going to prove himself this year. He wants to prove himself not only to the Chiefs as, hey, thanks for taking another chance on me. He was very grateful for the opportunity, by the way, when he talked to the media after the mandatory minicamp. He was very, very grateful to come in. He leaned on his faith a lot during the injury process and the recovery, and he's blessed to be able to stay in Kansas City. But at the same time, you can have all those high praises and expectations and thank yous awarded to a franchise that's willing to take a chance on you, but it's exactly that. It's a chance. Hollywood Brown, the Chiefs are taking a chance on him to be around that 500 to 700 yard receiver, which is kind of what the Chiefs need. Going into the explosiveness from last season and the lack thereof, the Chiefs were not good for multiple yards down the field. And while they found a way to win multiple games, close games, they just didn't feel like the dominating team that they had been in the years prior. Not to say that Hollywood Brown was the missing piece in that function, as everything kind of just was, kind of floating around for Kansas City last year. I mean, this team is still so used to winning that they mustered themselves into the championship picture, the Super Bowl championship picture. Obviously, we know that didn't pan out their way. And while Hollywood Brown was on the playoff roster, he didn't necessarily take that step forward. As Patrick Mahomes said, that it's hard to get a guy who has not been around the whole season into the offensive scheme. Makes total sense. And that's why I'm fully expecting the Chiefs to use Hollywood Brown, not only to exercise his chance of his wanting to prove himself that he's recovered from injury, but also for himself because he needs to, try out for another year, whether it is in Kansas City or it's elsewhere. He and himself has to make sure that he's taking care of his body. He needs to show that he's doing good. He needs to show that he's still capable of collecting multiple receiving yards, hundreds. Maybe he's not by the 1000s anymore because he's not he's not a top wide receiver, at least on the Chiefs offense, compared to a guy like Rashee Rice, where he's going to get a lot of targets. I think Hollywood Brown's going to get a lot of action in the red zone. Keep in mind that he's been one of the more consistent touchdown scorers in years past. I think that a few years ago, when he first broke into the league, he had 7 touchdowns his rookie season. He had 8 his second, 6, 3, 4, and then 0. So he's just this fluctuating player. The Chiefs are hopeful that they get the better half of the fluctuation rather than the guy who is on the decline in his career. And that all starts with the coaching staff. As we know, the Chiefs would not have brought back Hollywood Brown if they did not feel that he still fit the offensive scheme. As we saw for DeAndre Hopkins, him taking his talents elsewhere. While he's also a veteran, DeAndre Hopkins didn't necessarily fit the mold for this young Kansas City receiving corps. That being said, that's the perfect spot for Hollywood Brown. He's got the experience, both playoff and regular season. He has tenure into the league. I am fully expecting him to return to around the 500, 600, 700 receiving yards, give or take. He's going to be a touchdown receiver here and there, but I also see him leaning on the younger guys. He's in a position now, at least where in Kansas City, is to push the narrative towards this is the youth and they are the future. The Rashee Rices, the Xavier Worthies, the Jalen Royals, depending on how many more guys come in, and also depending on how well Sky Moore morphs into this role this season. You also got a guy, there's multiple guys, Nico Regimio. There's guys that this can build, or at least the expertise from Hollywood Brown can give to these guys. So in recap, I see him definitely rebounding and proving himself towards getting another contract down the line. Whether it's in Kansas City or not, that remains to be up in the air. But I also see him being a leader in the locker room and a leader on the field. He doesn't have to be getting the ball all the time to be a leader. He can give the expectations, the wisdom to the younger guys who haven't been in the league as long. And even these younger guys, if they want to bounce their ideas off of Hollywood Brown, maybe Brown could see his game increase again and kind of have a resurgence on the latter half of his career. That being said, though, that's going to wrap up today's podcast. I do greatly appreciate that you guys stopped in. As always, as you can see on the ticker down below, or if you're listening, you can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Dom Minchella, spelled DOMMINCHELLA. I post and repost every single day all of my stories. You're not going to want to miss them, as I am the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer for On SI. And you can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI, where all of our stories get posted as we continuously get closer to the 2025 NFL season. Training camp's just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to want to miss any single part of this. And with that, as always, be kind to one another, and I'll see you tomorrow.